So with UCLA coming into town, it's been what, like 8 years since Oregon's had a top 10 matchup there inside Autzen. So what's the environment like there, one outside the stadium, just in the community and everything leading into this game?
Yeah, this is it reminds you a lot of a high school homecoming game where everybody in the entire town's excited about it. It's certainly a fun environment. I keep telling our players that they created that, right? And obviously we have amazing fans here, but you got to remember the reason everything's here, the fanfare, the excitement, that's been created because of how you've played so far this season. You have to continue to play and make sure you keep the main thing the main thing. But there's certainly a lot of excitement through the community and the entire university.
I hear you say keep the main thing a lot. Tell me a little bit about that. And I mean, it's simple, but where did you first hear that?
I didn't realize I said it a lot, so I guess that tells you. I don't know. I don't know where I heard it, but it makes sense to me, right? I mean, look, there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens in this game. There's going to be a lot of stuff that happens outside of this game, and the reality is, the only part that matters is the game, right? And we're celebrating a great cause with our breast cancer awareness jerseys, right? It's awesome to have game day here, and certainly some of the national media that'll be covering this game. Those are all awesome pieces, but the reality for us is playing the game on the field. That's what we want to do really well, and that's what we pride ourselves in, the preparation that it takes to have a good football team. And I certainly don't think we've played our best football yet. We still have better football to play. I'm hoping we continue to trend that direction.
So what's different about your team from the team that everybody nationally saw in week one? I was there, covered the game against Georgia, to where you are right now.
Oh, there's a lot, there's a lot different, but I'm sure a lot can be said for every single team in the nation right now. You're not the same team you are week 6, week 7 as you are week 1. And, we realized how many things we have to get better at and where we got to roll up our sleeves and go to work. But that doesn't mean, the improvement for us is done, right? There's a lot more to do, and we can get a whole lot better than we are. And the reality is game 1 has nothing to do with game 7, right? So we got to go out here and play our best game, this game. And when we got to go accomplish what we can accomplish.
I've heard a lot about how you kind of almost week to week, whether you know it or not, you kind of focus on like a couple of things like we really got to fix and improve on, whether it's been like red zone stuff. I know you've mentioned third down defense right now, which you guys have really struggled with lately. One, I want to ask, what has been the focus the last couple of weeks, especially with this bye week you just had to help prepare, but also when you look back at the analysts and everybody you brought in, how much of the analysts kind of helped with that and identifying those issues?
I think it's full circle. It's the entire organization. It's not one person. It's not one analyst. It's every coach. It's every support staff member. Everybody has a role in our organization and they have to contribute. And every player, they have to be able to identify their warts as well. I think from the beginning of the season, we talked about the reality is everybody wants to go out to practice and practice what they're really good at, right? If I'm good at catching fade balls, hey, coach, throw another fade at practice, right? If I'm good at pass rush, everybody wants to go do one-on-ones. But the reality is you better go focus on your weaknesses. And I think our team's really embraced that this season. Every single week we've kind of had something that we've certainly focused on. And this week's no different. Like you said, we got to get better at third down. UCLA is one of the best third down teams in the nation. They don't get in third and long very often. That's something we have to do well on defense, and we have to do well on offense. We got to tackle well in this game. There's just a lot of details that go into it. During our bye week, we really had a personal improvement plan for every one of our players, and it wasn't 10 things that I can get better at, because I think when you make a list of 10 things, you end up becoming not any better at any of them, right? Jack of all, right, is not really a phrase in our organization. We want to become master of one, right? And we're working on one thing that we want to get better at during that week, and hopefully we get to see that on the field this week.
What pops out to you about UCLA? Is it just the experience and veteran leadership that DTR provides them and gives them so much confidence no matter what's going on the field, or what is it?
Seeing him as a fifth-year player is really clear, right? I think they do a good job of making teams panic, right, and feel like they can't really grab their breath. They get the ball out on the perimeter. They play extremely fast at times, but then they can slow the pace down, and they make the simplest plays, right, feel like really complicated plays and make them really hard, because then you realize, hey, there's 20 yards of space between me and the guy that has the ball, and I got to go make an open field tackle, which can be one of the hardest things in football. right? Or on defense, they do a great job of changing the presentation and making quarterbacks throw in tight windows, or having opportunities to take advantage of the pass rush. So I think they make teams panic, and they do simple really well.
When you look at your team, you've had a lot of success with the transfers that have come in that have had immediate impact. And number one on everybody's mind is Bo Nix, transfer quarterback from Auburn. And you just look at his numbers on paper, it's amazing the improvement he's made. But then you watch him on game day, and he looks, not to say completely different, but he is just absolutely dynamic. How would you describe Bo Nix and what he's done for you so far this season?
Yeah, I've been a fan of Bo for a long time. Even going back when I was coordinating against him at Georgia and playing against him, he has an athleticism that I think is really unmatched. At that position, it's certainly special. And right now, he's operating at a really high level because he's making great decisions. And the biggest part of being a great quarterback is being a great decision maker, and not feeling like you have to go make every single play, but having the confidence to when a play needs to be made, you can do it. And he's right in that threshold right now and doing a really good job.
How much do you pay attention to the middle eights? How much of a stressor is that for you guys you look at?
Yeah, we talk about it quite a bit. And that's one of the things during our bye week, we actually broke down for our team, hey, here's where we've been in the middle eight, showed them some scenarios of, where it's been really beneficial to us and where it can, help us. And we've been good in that area this season.
You've been very good. I think it's 80 something to maybe like 10 or something like that in the middle eights in favor of Oregon since week 1. There's been that one game that you got quote unquote struggled with, and I guess it was at Arizona. When you look at what's gone right and what's gone wrong, are you thinking maybe I shouldn't harp on this too much because we're doing so well, or how do you approach that?
Well, it's a piece of the game that you want to be good at, but it's not the only piece of the game, right? If we spend all our time in the middle eight, I'd be worried about the other, 42 minutes of the game, or that we are at, the other 52 minutes of the game that really matter, right? So we got to be good at a lot of things, and it's certainly not just those 8 minutes within a game. But when we can focus on small details and break the game into small pieces, I think that makes sense to our players and take advantage of those moments. It's worked for us this season.
I mean, on game days, it doesn't really matter who the other coach is on the sideline, but on TV it does, because faces are faces, with Chip Kelly on the other sideline there for UCLA and going against his former program. How much do you kind of have to talk about that with your players going into a game like this? Because as you said, that there are distractions out there, and that just seems to be like another one.
Yeah, I think this place, I've said it earlier this week, that this place probably has a special place in its heart for Chip, as well as the same for him. And that really has nothing to do with the game. Chip Kelly's going to play 0 snaps this game. Dan Lanning's going to play 0 snaps this game. I'm sure he'll have some wrinkles, up his sleeve for coming here and playing in a place that he has some fond memories of, and we have to be prepared for those. But the reality is the players are going to play this game, and none of these players were really here when he was here. And that's not the game, right? That's part of those outside pieces that really don't matter.
From the outside looking in, this is such a huge game just for the Pac-12 overall. It's been something like 6 years since we've seen a top 10 matchup, and that was in the Pac-12 championship game. Of course, the Pac-12 hasn't been in the playoff in 6 years. Do you think that, from what you've just seen, that the Pac-12 has some playoff-worthy teams at this point in the season, including yourselves?
I think time will tell. Yeah, I think time will tell. I hope, unlike many coaches in this league, that's the last thing we're really worried about right now. And I think the rest takes care of itself, right? You go play good football. I'll say this: there's some really good teams in this league. There's some really good talent in this league. And every week I turn on and I'm like, man, I wish we were playing a different team. There's some really, it's talent each week, well-coached teams each week. And I think you see it week in and week out in this conference. So that other stuff takes care of itself.
What do you think the unfair rap is about the Pac-12? Because as you said, you've coached in the SEC, which everybody lauds as the best. And then the Pac-12 we've seen from top to bottom this year, it's been very competitive. We just saw Utah, of course, beat USC, and there's been some close matchups. How would you stack up the Pac-12 right now?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think there's great coaches, great players in this league. I think it's only getting better. And being in other conferences, top to bottom, this conference is really strong in my opinion right now. And there isn't a game that you can say, okay, all right, this is a week that we can coast. That doesn't really exist in this conference. So you love that. You want that as a coach. You want to be in a place that's competitive, that your players have to get up for every game and go to work. And that's the way our staff feels right now.
What have you learned about yourself as a head coach so far? I know you're in the thick of it, but I'm sure you've had at least a couple of quiet moments, at least when you're trying to go to sleep, to think about it.
Yeah, I learn every single day. Like there's a lot of things that I can get better at. I'm continuing to improve. That's one of the things I love about football is it gives you an opportunity to be a lifelong learner. And if you stay the same, you're going to get passed up in this game, right? And there's, in today's day and age, there's so many tools that you can utilize to make yourself better, right? Whether it's studying other games, being able to watch opponent film, talk to other coaches. So I still enjoy that piece. I really enjoy learning, about where I can be better. We do a self-scout, not just on the games we lose, but the games we win. So what can we do better within that game? And that's what I get hung up on. That's my favorite part of football is how can we played well, but how can we play better? And that's going to continue to happen for me. But I've learned a lot. I'm not done learning when it comes to myself as a head coach.
What has impressed you the most about your team?
Love for the game. You want to coach players that have a love for the game, and I think our team has a love for the game. That we don't have a group of complainers. These guys want to roll up their sleeves and work, and they've done a good job of ignoring the outside noise. I want to see that continue.
I saw an interview with you. I don't even know what it was. Maybe it was about a month ago, talking about practicing outside in the elements, and you drew upon references to from Rocky to Rocky 3 and even Rocky 4, going out and how you had to go out in the snow and prepare and everything. And I think there's rain in the forecast this Saturday. I know Eugene's needed it with all the forest fires going on there. How have you guys been preparing for that? Maybe there being a little bit of a battle of the elements as well.
Yeah, I think, this is where you get to trust your training. We've played in it before, whether it be in practice or experienced in the environment, but we've prepped for it. We do wet ball drills every single week. We did more of them this week. Whatever rolls out there, we're going to worry about the things we can control, right? And weather's certainly not one of them, but that's somewhere that we can have an assigned advantage if we go out there and operate well.
All right, so I've been told you've got kind of some movies you really, really like. I want to hear the ones you really consider that you look up to that have influenced you. So I know we all have our favorites, but when I heard you talking about Rocky, you knew quite a bit about those. So I'm interested to hear.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm as much of a Rocky guy as you might think. I just kind of thought it fit that week. So I can't name all the Rockies. But I used to really be a movie guy. My top 5 list would probably be Mystic River, Road to Perdition, Seven. Let's see here. The Departed, and then Last of the Mohicans. That's probably my top 5 right there.
Wow, that's a fantastic list. Mystic River, I remember when
What's your top 5?
Well, it's kind of nerdy. My number 1 is a movie called RoboCop, just because my family was messed up. They're like, hey, here's 4 years old. He'll enjoy this murderous cyborg police officer. But yeah, that was one of my favorites. So Mystic River, what a messed up ending. Oh man.
Crazy movie, huh? Yeah.
Woo. Have you seen the other movie that's based off the same author, the novelist, Gone Baby Gone?
Yeah. Good movie.
Yeah.
Another Affleck brother.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, keep it in the family there. And then Road to Perdition, Paul Newman being able to saying I'm glad it's you in the rain when he's got his hand on. Oh, that's heavy stuff.
Great movie, isn't it? It's a great movie.
Lone Wolf and Cub I think that was partially based off of. So, okay, but you're using Rocky references to the team. That's good.
Yeah, I'll use anything and everything that I think fits. With our guys, I catch myself doing it so often. There's so many people that we revere in sports, and I think every one of us would love to lean on a Michael Jordan quote or a Kobe Bryant video, and sometimes you catch yourself as a coach going to that too often. And I think it's great to find some references outside of sports at times. And sometimes that might be in a movie, that might be, in an event. There's a lot of things you can lean on, but I think good teachers find other ways to teach.
So what are you leaning on this week?
Well, we're really focused on being the thermostat, not the thermometer this week, right? We want to set the temperature, not really adapt to the temperature. So, that's the theme for us. That's what we're focused on. Control the things we can control, but we set the tone, and that's what we're going to go out there and do.
So how do you see yourself going forward as far as you continue to build the program when we got the transfer portal obviously with recruiting, what kind of balance do you foresee there?
Well, I mean, recruiting's your lifeblood, right? You always have to go get top notch talent, and I believe in developing talent. I don't want to eat the meal. I want to help cook the meal, right? I want to eat it, but I want to help cook it. So we have to build a roster from the ground up. We're always going to recruit high school players, and we want to recruit the right guys that want to stay, guys that'll battle through adversity and deal with that. But at the same time, we've had certainly some success in the portal, and we want to lean on great relationships and guys that we think can help our program, and it's benefited us. It'll continue to benefit us, but I don't know that we'll ever be a team that's only built out of the portal or only built out of high school players. We got to be a team that is a little bit of both.
My last question, when you look at this game going into it, what is going to be the difference? When we look back at this, we say that team won because.
Yeah, explosive plays, right? We have to limit their explosives, and we have to create some explosive for us. And ultimately, that's not going to be necessarily 50-yard bombs down the field. That's going to be built off of tackling in space and making sure that we can get yards after catch when we get the ball in space.
I think you two programs are maybe 1 and 2 in the Pac-12 as far as explosive plays this season.
Yeah, I think we're 2 and 3, but right. Well, we might be 1, 2. I always look at differential, right? I look at how many have we given up versus how many have we created. And right now, I think we're 2, 3 in the conference when it comes to differential. In fact, I think we're both at plus 31. So.
Oh wow, yeah.
So that to me is going to be the difference. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll circle that on my scout sheet there when I start watching the game on television. Well, I wish I could be there for the game. At some point, I'll be out there to cover Oregon. I'm sure. I can't wait to see you guys in person and see your staff. You built a heck of a staff there, Coach.
Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the talk today. Best of luck.
All right. Thanks, Dan. All right, man. Hey, I'll see you. Thank you so much. I know you're busy. Good luck Saturday.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
See you, Dan. Bye.